Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. Now, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos, but in today's video, I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes of how I created a video commercial for this product. Right, so if you want to see the breakdown of how that was made, definitely do stick around until the end. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and if you're new here, do consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. Before we begin though, guys, I just want to say that this ad was not commissioned by Olay. This is a personal project. This is a spec ad. There's some ideas that I wanted to execute for a while now, and this was just an opportunity for me to do that. And this particular product was chosen for, just for a couple of reasons. I mean, I like the aesthetic, I like the look of this. It's really beautiful, and I thought, I can do something really cool with this product. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna walk you through the video, and then I'm gonna take you through the behind the scenes of the shots and give you the shot breakdown. And then finally, I'm gonna take you into the editing suite and show you how that was put together. So let's go for the walkthrough and let's check out the video. So this is the first shot. Now, this sets the tone. It's of a beautiful woman applying skin cream of some description to her face. And you're thinking, oh, face cream, and then boom. So we get a glimpse of the jar, which is revealed in a rush of refreshing bubbles. We then move into a close-up. So if you didn't catch it before, you know for sure it's a day cream and it's fragrance-free, right? So then now we have a super slow motion sexy shot, and everything about it screams hydration. The water and everything thinks, you know what, this is a really supple kind of hydrating product. So that shot then fades into the model, and these droplets from the water splash actually looks like they're just being absorbed by her skin, right? She looks happy, her skin looks happy. What's next? Okay, let's talk about the silky, nourishing texture of this cream. I mean, it looks like you can eat that stuff, right? Then we're gonna pull back from that to reveal the hero of this video. And don't forget the lid. Boom, it's a wrap. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly break down these shots to show how they were done, starting with the bubbles. Okay, so these were done in a water tank, and to create the bubbles, what I did was I drilled some holes in this empty shampoo bottle and attached a tube to the cap like so, and just blew some bubbles until I got something that I liked. And here's a quick look at the lighting setup, and all the lights were on full power for this. The second one, which is actually my favorite, was shot with a high-speed camera, the Chronos 2.1 HD. And I just dropped this into the tank a few times at various angles and then selected the best shot. Now, these shots of the model were from a stock footage website that I have a subscription for, and they definitely work for this assignment. The next shot was a bit messy in real life, actually. Again, using the high-speed camera at 1,000 frames per second, I just poured single cream from a flat container so we can get that wide curtain shape, and then selected the best couple of seconds for that shot. Now, this final shot was the most complex of them all. It was a mix of hand-eye coordination and a 3-axis move using the Rhino slider, and I'll explain. So I used the probe lens for this shot to get right into the landscape of the cream, which I had to carve out myself, by the way. So the product is sitting on a turntable with a white top, so it blends into the background seamlessly. It's backlit by this LED light panel at the back, and if you want to see how I built that LED panel, click the card above and save that for later so you can check it out. So the shot starts with the product spinning on the turntable. So as the label gets to the front, I stop the turntable with a remote, and just as it's coming to a stop, I then activate the pre-programmed move on the R2 slider, which pulls back, it pans up, and changes focus simultaneously. So all those 3 actions are done at the same time to create that end shot. So from that position, and with the camera still rolling, what I do is place the cap on the product and I screw it down. And I'm being careful not to move the jar from that position. And I'll explain exactly what happens to the cap in the editing segment. And actually, on that note, let's jump over to Premiere Pro and show you how I put this all together. Okay guys, so we are in Premiere Pro, and I'm just gonna quickly run you through this. Now we have all our files. This is all my files over here. The clips that I'm gonna use, I've got different bins. So this is my slow-mo bin. In the hero shot, which is the last shot at the end, I've just got one clip. I just selected the one take from the memory card to store in here. But the slow-mo, I wanted to come in here and kind of see what I have to work with and get some options from there. So this was edited for a square format, if you're wondering why it was square on the screen earlier. And this is what the timeline looks like. It's nothing too complex on here. I'm just going to run you through the clips and just show you what I did with that. So the first clip is the stock footage. As you can see, it's just a standard clip, nothing else is going on here. So then we come into this other clip as well. We just zoom in the timeline right there. Let's make it a little bigger so you can see what's going on. So in that clip is just a standard clip. Essentially what I've done is I've gone through this one and I've selected the part of the clip that I wanted, and I just wanted this bit right here as it comes into frame and it drops to the bottom of the tag, and that is that. So the next one again is pretty similar. You can see that is the close-up shot, and if we go back to the bin for the slow-mo, this is where it originated from. If we look at this window on the left hand side right here, we can see that this shot, let me just play that back, that this shot is straight, it's almost level, the product is level. And if we look at the right hand window in the program window here and display that through, we can see that the product is tilted. So it's tilted and it's coming upright, and I'll explain what's happening right here. So what I did with this one is I implemented some keyframes on the rotation. So if we have a look just right here, we can see that the rotation angle changes. So it changes from about 11 degrees all the way back to 0. Well, it should go all the way back to 0. And that is actually intentional, because when we move into the next shot, which is moving from the right to the left in terms of its rotation, it's almost a continuation. So that was the reason for implementing those rotational keyframes in this part. So it's coming from right to left, it's rotating right to left, and it transitions into the other shot, which the product is also swinging from right to left. So these subtleties do actually make a big difference in the final edit. All right, moving on swiftly, we have this shot again. Let's go to the slow-mo bin. So we can see there are many different tries, there are many different attempts. So I've just kind of gone through all of these ones and I just chose the one that I think looked the best. So it came from here, and as we can see, this was the portion of the shot that I wanted. So it carries on and it ends up, but we don't need that part of it. We just selected this part, dragged it onto the timeline. What I've done though, because this is a super slow motion shot and it can go on forever, what I've done is done a speed ramp. And if we just expand this right here, so we can see a little bit more of what this speed ramp is doing. And this is a matter of just applying, if we right click on here on the clip itself, show clip keyframes, go to time remapping and change that to speed. And then we can add keyframes on here to change the speed of that clip. So at the start of this clip, we have it at 200%. If we just hover over this line, we can see how fast it is in terms of the remapping. So it's at 200% here because it was too slow in any case. So we were trying to get to the point, to the focal point. So we speed it up at the beginning just a little bit. And then once it hits here, once it launches out of the water, we slow it down. So now this is slowed down back to 100%. So this is regular slow motion. That is 1000 frames per second on a 24 frames per second timeline. So that is at 100%. So we slow it right back down just at this point here. And when we've seen, the focal point and what we really need to see, and then we ramp it all the way back up to 430% as it exits right here. So let's just run that through again. 200%, slow it down to 100%, and then speed it up 400% as it exits the screen. And the transition into the next shot as well was kind of cool. It was accidentally, it wasn't planned, but it really does work. So where we have the bubbles, see those bubbles just below the product here as they fade out, and it's just a simple crossfade here, changing the opacity from 0 to 100% here, and it fades into the face of the woman. And we can see the bubbles there. So it's as if the bubbles are absorbing into her face as they disappear. This shot again is fairly straightforward. This set of shots work actually. When you're using stock videos for a product, you try to find not just a single video, but a set of them. So in the first one, if we go back here, we can see she's got product on her face, and on this one, she's already rubbed the product into her face and it's already dissolved. So we're kind of progressing into the story of what is happening. Okay, and now moving into the next shot, have done absolutely nothing extra to this shot apart from some color adjustments, color correction on here, and zoomed it in just a little bit just to get a bit more focus on what is happening in the middle here. But that is just as it is, and then the shot just fades in to the next one where we are in the jar and seeing the landscape. So this kind of shows what I was explaining earlier about the jar spinning on the turntable before we started pulling out. It's very subtle, but it's moving in an anti-clockwise direction, and then it stops, and then the rest of the shot is revealed. So now the slider is pulling back on this shot, and it's also panning up so that we keep the distance between the bottom of the jar and the bottom of the screen here. So that's where it is, and then into the next shot, which I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what is happening there. So this was the end. So if you look on the left of the screen here, you can see me putting the cap on. And then what I've done here is just taking a photograph of this. So I did have to do a little bit of, not really cheating, but you can see where the cap is right now. If you look at the back is missing because of where it's blown out. That very bright light at the back on this silver surface has made that blown all the way out. So I wanted to bring some of that back in. So I had a white card and I just placed it over that area. You can see in the back what's happening there, just to bring the back of the cap in. It's gone, now it's back. It's gone, now it's back. So that was intentional. I had seen what had happened there and corrected it before it was too late. So there we are with the cap. And then what I've done was just taking a photograph of the cap. So if we go right here, we can say export frame. So if we export frame, and we can save that somewhere. And now if we look at this cap, there's a lot of issues going on here. If we look in comparison with the one on the left and the one to the right, we can see quite a few things have changed. It's a silver surface, so it is going to suffer from reflections about, you know, from what is in the room and things that are in the room. And what I've done is actually tidy that a bit up. So the first thing that I actually did was to take that image, so that image that we just captured and saved here, which I'm going to then kind of edit in Photoshop. So I've gone into Photoshop and I've kind of gone through and I've cleaned all of this up. So like, for example, this stuff, just kind of removed it and done a lot of tidying up, gotten rid of some of these reflections. And you can see on these sides, on the sides here, I've actually fixed those up as well. So, you know, did a bit of jiggery pokey in Photoshop. I don't want to go too deep into that right now, but let's just say I've had to do some work on the cap, and now we'd end up with something looking a lot better like this. So as we can see on the timeline here, we have these two layers. One of them is the cap. I'm just going to disable this layer, and the cap's not there anymore, and just bring it back in, and we can see the cap just then. And then what I did with that frame is masked it out. So I applied a mask around it, so we only seen that top part of the image. So if we were to just isolate this mask or disable this mask, we can see that was the original image, but with the mask applied, we just need this portion. This is the portion of it that I'm interested in. And then what we're going to do is just keyframe that part of it. So keyframe that and bring it up. Apply a little bit of motion blur. We can see the motion blur happening there. If we come over to the effect controls, we can see there's a directional blur that is keyframed from about 26 down to 0 as it lands. And the keyframing for the positioning as well of this frame is from the top to the bottom. And yeah, that is kind of it. That's what happened there. Okay, so before we wrap up, there's a couple of other things that I've done on here. Added some sound effects just to make it a little bit more immersive, and we'll just play that through. And just add the music one more time. And that is it for this video today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, leave a comment, smash the like button. Make sure you follow me over on my Instagram, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.